What's the worst that can happen when mentally vulnerable children are left around a perverted, calculated, mental health carer? Sheffield's most perverted mental health worker, Owen Sideways Smith. Owen Smith was a happy-go-lucky, larger-than-life father of 10 who was respected within the local community. But beneath that mask lived a vile sex beast who preyed on, raped and sexually assaulted 3 vulnerable teenagers. In this video, we uncover the gut-churning truth on Sheffield's most perverted mental health worker. In 2016, Owen Smith, aged 50, was convicted of 5 counts of rape, 2 of sexual assault, and 1 count of trafficking in a trial at Sheffield Crown Court and jailed for 20 years. He was also placed on the sex offenders register for life. Smith appeared to sway in the dock, only to be held up by a dock officer as the verdicts were delivered. Police stated Smith, who resided at Hawley Street of Sheffield, abused his NHS position to gain the trust of his victims. Smith was arrested in September 2014 after being found with a teenage girl who had been reported missing the previous day, and 2 further victims were identified as a result of a police investigation. Smith, who worked for Sheffield Health and Social Care NHS Foundation Trust, raped the first complainant on several occasions in the mid-1990s when she was just 12 years of age. The first time after a party at his flat, where she was given alcohol and cannabis. He also had raped her whilst a disabled boy he was looking after was present. His offences against the other 2 victims occurred in 2014, one being 19 years of age and the other 16. Smith accepted in court having sexual contact with the 2 vulnerable girls, one who was addicted to legal highs and the other who lived in a children's home, but claimed it had been consensual in both instances. The first of his 3 victims felt unable to attend court, with a personal statement read on her behalf by prosecutor Richard Woolfall. She said she had turned to drugs and alcohol from the age of 13 to cope with the trauma Smith had inflicted upon her. "I thought if I got drunk enough, I might get the courage to speak about what had happened," she said. "My teenage years were stolen from me. Owen took those years from me, and it is something I can never get back." His second victim, who had met Owen through a mutual friend, told the court that, "I was in a bad time in my life, looking for support and for somewhere to live." She said Smith initially seemed kind and helpful, and she trusted him as he had been wearing his NHS staff badge. The woman said she quickly found he was not to be trusted, and Smith would tell her that he was untouchable and could get away with everything. She also added that the experience of giving evidence in court and reliving the abuse had been very difficult for her. The third victim, whom was 16 years old at the time of the offence and was residing in a children's home, was first approached by Smith while he was driving in his work car, and he stopped to speak to her as she was walking along the road. She told the court she had been going through a difficult time and thought he may be able to help her in her time of need. Unfortunately, Owen did the opposite and subsequently took her home, locked her in his bedroom and sexually assaulted her. The 17-year-old victim, at the time of court proceedings, told a jury at Sheffield Crown Court that Smith had guided her with his hand on her back from the front door of his flat straight into the bedroom, and the assault had occurred after he had given her an unknown substance to smoke that had made her feel so tired I wanted to lay down and go to sleep. She added that Smith had then locked the bedroom door and intimately touched her despite her attempting to prevent him doing so by moving her body away from him and trying to take his hand off her body. She said, "I didn't agree to it. I didn't say no, and I didn't say yes. I was too scared." She was found by police the next morning in Smith's bedroom after being reported missing. When officers arrived, Smith initially claimed the girl had slept on the sofa before he started shouting at the 16-year-old, "Nothing's happened, tell them nothing's happened," in front of officers. Francis Edusay, representing Smith, suggested the victim had instigated sexual contact with his client and the contact between them was something you consented to. The alleged victim said this was not the case. She stated in court, "When I saw the NHS badge and he told me he worked in mental health, I thought he was a person I could trust and he could protect me. Having to give evidence in court made me feel dirty and ashamed of myself. I was surprised I had the strength to do it. I'm so glad it is all over, and I thank the jury for believing me." Smith admitted while giving evidence that he was attracted to young ladies, but denied he had done anything wrong. His 12-year-old victim from the 90s had told police that Smith had an intimate piercing at the time he abused her, something he denied in an interview, but later accepted in court that he did in fact have, which turned out to be critical evidence for the prosecution. Judge Sarah Wright praised the remarkable courage of the women who had come forward to testify against Smith. She said that as one of his victims had been aged under 13, he was an offender of particular concern and added an extra year on licence to his 19-year jail term, meaning at the halfway point of his sentence, he will not automatically be released back into the community and will instead be assessed by the parole board as to whether he is suitable for release. Judge Wright said that following conviction, Smith had been interviewed by a probation officer who was concerned at his level of denial and minimisation. She told Smith, she notes that it is of great concern that despite having children yourself, including daughters, you are unable to recognise your own behaviour towards these young girls is damaging and harmful. Judge Wright said Smith had a predatory attitude towards his victims. She contrasted the behaviour and continued denials of Smith with the bravery of those who gave evidence against him. Judge Wright praised the first now-adult victim who had come forward to police about her experiences as a child after learning Smith was in a position of trust working in the NHS. She said to Smith, "Meanwhile, while they, the victims, show that courage, you continue to deny these offences and your responsibility for them. You have sexually preyed on young, vulnerable females." Investigating Officer Detective Constable Stephen Evans from Sheffield's Child Sexual Exploitation Team said, "This is a significant prison sentence for an individual who preyed on vulnerable girls and women at risk of sexual exploitation. His behaviour is simply despicable, and I'm pleased he is behind bars where he can cause no further harm to vulnerable members of our community. I wish to recognise again the courage of the victims who have been exceptionally brave throughout this process. I hope they are reassured by the significant sentence given to Smith for his disgraceful crimes." Owen Smith was known to colleagues and people in the local community alike as a dedicated mental health care worker who was seen frequently in the city centre with his patients. A man who would always stop off for a laugh and a conversation with his charming, larger-than-life persona, accompanied by a distinctive stutter. Due to his line of work and public facade, Owen was a commendable individual. However, beneath this public persona, it has come to light that he was involved in numerous child abuse that led him to a 20-year jail sentence. It was strongly alleged that there was as much as 5 other victims he sexually abused that opted not to press charges and relive the horrific abuse they endured at the hands of Smith. And with Owen brazenly stating to one of his victims he can get away with any and everything, it doesn't seem unlikely that he inflicted more damage upon other victims. It was also alleged that one of the victims attempted to commit suicide on a bridge of one of Sheffield's renowned roundabouts. When the case and these revelations surfaced, they shell-shocked those that knew Owen and have since reshaped the public perception of his character, as his actions behind closed doors contrast sharply with the image he had cultivated in the healthcare environment and local community. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more jaw-dropping crime stories here at Crime Network.